Hi, it's Kian Duckrot. Today, I have with me the beautiful, incredible Ezra Williams, the flute instructor. How are you?
I'm doing really well, thanks, Kian. Also, thank you so much for having me.
No worries, Ez. Okay, could you tell me a little bit about yourself? Pretty sure I do, Ezra. Also, what's this instrument you have on your hand?
You mean this? It's a flute. And it contains three pieces: the head joint, the body, and the foot joint. And it's a pearl.
Awesome. Ez. Also, when did you start picking up the flute? What age were you when you picked up the first flute?
Well, I picked up the flute since I was 10 years old. And it was a beginner closed hole flute. And it was sterling silver. And it had the little gaps for where the pinky goes. But the rest of the fingers are good enough.
I see, Ezra. Also, when did you start teaching the flute to many flute students? And do you have a flute student?
You see, I started teaching the flute since mid-2021. And at the start of 2022, I started to teach my very first flute student that I'd ever had. And my first flute student I reached was Leanne, if you don't know who she is.
Actually, I haven't met Leanne yet, Ezra. Also, when did your flute student moved in with you?
Well, to be honest, around the end of August of 2022, my flute student Leanne decided to move in with me, even though it was in Taller. Leanne was still learning the flute from me.
I'm pretty sure Leanne will eventually get there, Ezra. Anyway, I also heard that you have a new album coming out, the 23rd of September. And could you tell me more about your second album?
Technically, my second album will be based on the flute techniques that I'll be teaching, such as pitch bend, flutter tongue, triple tongue, double tongue, harmonics, chromatic scales with fast fingers, and lots more. But completely not as good as the first album, but the second album will be flute friendly.
Pretty sure hope so too, So, before I let you go, any flute techniques that are on the album, and would you go through them?
Track 1 on the album is making the top notes sounding evenly. But the technique I'm going to explain is flutter tongue. Now, it's basically like rolling the R, but it's not. Vibrate the tongue without using vocal cords.